Dance is more than TikTok challenges, and honestly, it pains me to hear that the majority of people associated with that, because dance has a deep history, and it is actually the hidden language of the soul, as many say, which means that dance is far more greater than those false allegations, if you ask me. So what if I tell you what dance truly is about? Several years ago, I came across a new published manga named Wandance by Coffee Sensei. It sparked my attention because as a dancer and former professional myself, reading about dance made me question whether it would convey the real message of what dance really stands for. And to give you a tiny spoiler, this manga was beyond my expectation. Even when you're not a dancer, this is a manga that everyone should be reading. So I would like to welcome you into the real world of dance. This is Wandance by Coffee. Kabuka Kotani is a male high school student at Ichirin High. He's a tall, handsome, but quite reserved guy who comes across the problem of stuttering. It makes him not being able to talk a lot and has a difficulty in expressing his feelings because of that. He does have a friend group, but whenever he's with them, Kabuka always seems to be blending in within the background. One day, Kabuka walks outside and sees a girl dancing in front of the window. He is absolutely mesmerized by her movements and keeps staring at her in awe and admiration. The next day follows. Kabuka is in class and surprisingly sees that the girl who danced in front of the windows turns out to be in the same class as him. After sharing some papers, he discovers her name, Hikari Wanda. They get along with each other, chat a bit about dancing, and because of Wanda, Kabuka decides to join the school's dance club with her. Together they participate in a dance session. He walks in and he just sees girls. And girls only, because it turns out that he is the only guy there. The session eventually becomes an audition, which means that you will be qualified to participate in the dance competitions with the club. Kabuka gets really nervous from this because in the past he experienced that people laughed at him for having no experience with dance, which traumatized him and made him feel insecure ever since. Luckily, Wanda is there to encourage him and tell him that he should do his own stuff, because no one else can copy your dance. Kabuka is moved by Wanda's words and skills and tries to experiment by expressing himself more and more during the freestyle sessions. And with this, Kabuka undergoes a journey of discovering the world of dance and finding his own flow and style. But what is a flow? How do you even create that? And what makes it your own style? Before we can answer those questions, we first have to know what dance is, of course. And dance, as they sum it up in the dictionaries, is a series of steps and movements that match the speed and the rhythm of a piece of music. But it is so much more than that. It is considered a sport, it is art, and most importantly, it is a lifestyle. But I will come back to this later. There are several things that I find really impressive about Wandance. And the first one of them being the fact how well Coffee managed to portray the overall foundation of hip-hop dance. So where did hip-hop dancing even begin? See, to keep it short, hip-hop dancing originated from the hip-hop culture, and that goes way back to the 70s in the Bronx, where things were not as great. The political climate, the economy, the environment itself with lots of drug use and gang violence were all a mess. And this made life really difficult to live through, until the rise of hip-hop came. Hip-hop was a way for the people to escape, but most importantly to express themselves, whether it was showing by respect, connecting with each other, or making a statement through movement. And this is so beautifully and uniquely translated into the manga. In hip-hop, respect is a big deal. Dancers honor their pioneers and traditions of the culture, and this respect is shown in battles and ciphers where the dancers compete but also appreciate each other's skills and creativity. Dance battles are spontaneous and competitive, where dancers freestyle and create their moves on the spot to outperform their opponents. These battles often involve intense direct interaction with the dancers reacting to each other's moves in front of an audience or judges. In Wandance, the main character Kabuka starts off as a newbie, but he quickly learns to respect the culture and its dancers. He works really hard and shows genuine love for the art, earning the respect of the others participating in the competitions. Because the mindset is really simple. If you cannot fight in a battle, then don't come eat. And that is why it is so important that hip-hop dance is also a way to make powerful statements by making use of these battles and competitions. Dancers use their movements to express feelings, tell stories, and comment on social issues or even diss each other. It is a raw and real form of self-expression at a split second. And the manga shows this through its characters' battles and performances, which often reflect their personal struggles and dreams. For example, dancers like Kabe who are really into only winning, while there are also dancers like Iori who would like to win also, but are more there because of the art. And in contrast with battles and ciphers, there are also choreographies. A choreography is basically a pre-rehearsed dance sequence, focusing on delivering a polished and synchronized performance. Routines like this emphasize the uniformity and the coordination among the dancers, often to tell a story or convey a theme. A lot of time is spent practicing to ensure precision and seamless execution. Take a look at On. She started dancing because she was inspired as a kid when watching the Because of You music video by Neo. And from that moment, she knew she wanted to start dancing and make choreographies to show her art and ideas to the world. Or Wanda, a big fangirl of Michael Jackson and a skilled dancer, who uses her routines, for example, to challenge expectations and stand up for herself, inspiring others in the process. And what they all have in common is wanting to become the best. And this aspect creates inspiration and connection among the dancers and the people outside of it. Dancing lets people from different backgrounds bond and understand each other. It's universal. It's a shared experience that creates a sense of community. And the manga greatly shows the essence of growing towards each other thanks to their love for dance. The practice sessions with the b-boys or performances with the dance club help Kabuka and the other characters in the series to connect, even with their differences. The manga celebrates the power of hip-hop to inspire and unite. And this message is greatly visible by the fact that Coffee Sensei really did some great research on the dance scene by interviewing the people that are actually involved in the dance scene itself. Whether it is a dance crew, a high school dance club, or even professional dancers and choreographers, which he takes inspiration from. And as I mentioned, Coffee Sensei addresses the hip-hop dance culture. But what is very interesting as well is that they also emphasize on the overall dance style itself. They enhance the story by including other styles, like locking, popping, house, breaking, and even more that all falls under the umbrella of hip-hop dancing. Hip-hop, R&B, funk are all music styles where the accent is being put on the 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 8th count. And how do you recognize this? By either strong percussions like snares or clapping, which are genuinely on the even numbers. The manga is very much crediting hip-hop being black music and embodying that in a way that shows genuine respect rather than it being cultural appropriation. And this is very noticeable, besides the credits that are already given, that Coffee does a great research on this. There is not so much to find about Coffee Sensei, but I've seen on his Twitter that not only does he do interviews, he also studies from the books to get the theory straight. The fundamentals like theory and the technique are portrayed really well by actually showing and explaining how it's supposed to be done in real life also. You can see that the body movements are smartly drawn like this, that it's almost like an exaggeration. But it conveys the feeling and the technique really well. It is thought through, it is very simple, but it works, since it's easy to understand and so also easy to do it yourself, thanks to the small details that Coffee is adding in the paneling. Another essential thing that adds to the fundamentals of dance, which I found one of the most important things as a dancer, is the fact that the manga also goes through the thought process of a dancer. A factor in that would be obviously the music. But how can you add music to a manga? Well, the funny thing is that the mangaka implements real songs in the manga. They use recent music like Shape of You by Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars, Shawn Mendes, Michael Jackson, but also other underrated songs that are being used during the battles like funk instrumentals. What I have noticed, it is always being mentioned before they start dancing, which makes this extra special, because it makes me want to listen to the music while reading the manga to get the ultimate feeling out of the panel. But what does this have to do with the thought process of a dancer? It is very easy to say that when you're dancing, you'll just keep focusing on how to be dancing while listening to the music, right? And that is exactly the problem. One of the tips, for example, that are being mentioned in the series is when the music starts, just keep dancing. Never stop and don't think of anything else. This is to prevent rushing, which pretty much means that you're dancing faster than the music goes. And a great analogy that they give is that it's like you're watching a YouTube video where the video and the sounds are not in sync. The general public doesn't really pay that much attention to the music when they watch dance. Even if they cannot express it in words properly, it still ends up influencing their overall impression of the dance. And to solve this problem of rushing is either by counting or a focused mind. It is a state where you feel extremely focused and yet so calm. It is the state where you feel and be the music. All you do is focus on the music, yes, but in a way that you know that you are the music in whatever you do. You decide where the focus will be on and what accent people have to pay attention to simply because you are the rhythm. And this is where momentum comes into place, which I find really impressive that this is even being mentioned in the manga. Whenever you see dance, think about dance, or when you're dancing, usually people don't think about the momentum or even know what it is. Since this is a skill that will develop the more you head towards the pros. Momentum is everything. It is the rhythm and the flow that you execute in order to do the movement. And your body follows that automatically without you having to think about anything else except you feeling the music. And that is why it is very impressive how the mangaka is able to put and translate dance not only into paper but also into words. Me myself as a dancer, I can very much relate with Kabuke having trouble expressing himself through words. And even other dancers as well as I as a dancer cannot even express through words how I feel towards dancing. Because I am only able to express it by doing it. Coffee Sensei really took advantage of this observation that many dancers face by creating a main character like Kabuke. The mangaka gives short introductions and explanations on the different types of stuttering, the most common body languages that are associated with it, and also the feeling of a person having to struggle with this. This gives you so much insight as a reader on how Kabuke really feels about himself and his surroundings, but not being able to express it. And this struggle can cause a lot of insecurity. You have to know that insecurities can be deeply ingrained and multifaceted that can impact you in various aspects in both your personal and professional life. The manga vividly portrays these insecurities through the character's journey. Kabuke is initially really hesitant to join the dance club due to his stutter. He fears that it will make him stand out for the wrong reasons. His anxiety about being judged by others and how he's being perceived in communication creates a significant barrier to his pursuit of dance. This reflects on a common insecurity among dancers, the fear of judgment and failure, which can really prevent someone from fully expressing themselves. While Wanda gives off the vibe that she is proud and confident enough and doesn't care about people staring at her. And this is one of the qualities that dancers also can possess, which I can heavily relate to since dance is about expression and showing yourself, so you shouldn't be scared putting yourself out there in the world. Throughout Wandance, Coffee vividly depicts insecurities in both subtle and overt ways. The manga realistically portrays the emotional challenges of dancers, ultimately conveying that insecurities can be overcome with resilience, support, and self-belief. And this creates an interesting and complementing dynamic between Wanda and Kabuke being actually polar opposites of each other. For Kabuke, dancing helps him to overcome shyness and find his true self. His journey on the dance floor mirrors his personal growth, as he learns to deal with his emotions and build relationships. Kabuke being so unsure whether he dances right is really an insecurity that some dancers face. When you just start out, you have to find your own style, and I find it wonderful that a character like Wanda really makes Kabuke open up more and encourage him by comforting him that it's going to be alright to do your own stuff. Because by doing that, you discover your own dance and no one else can copy that. Dance is about translating music into body movement. You are the music. Whether you show the artist's message by emphasizing on the lyrics, the beat, or their initial story, or you create your own and give the song and so the choreography your own story. And this can be even by relying on the initial story or interpreting it in a completely different and unique way apart from what the song initially is about and giving it your own twist. And like this, you will eventually develop your own style just by expressing your feelings. And what is this feeling? It's like when listening to music and how you feel about it. Everyone has different emotions evoked from it. Even if you listen to the same song, there are people who will not be surprised. But there are also people who will go absolutely crazy. Be it feeling nostalgic, feeling super happy, or feeling empowered. Everyone feels it differently. But when people are overwhelmed by emotions, they become unable to speak well. And they naturally express themselves using their bodies rather than with words. And the feeling is not just in that moment only. It is part of the everyday life. It's a lifestyle. The way a person grows up, how they hide their insecurities, and the discrimination that they face, for example, are all influenced by the music that they listen to. This music brings out their inner feelings and experiences. And this is what, in my opinion, dance is about. Self-expression. Not only the joy of it, of course, but feeling free. And this is so beautifully depicted in the manga. The art is dynamic, fierce, and powerful, even though it being a graphic novel, aka just images. It feels alive. The striking poses that are being made, the exaggeration in the body language, and the rough, speedy lines that are drawn all create a perfect balance of movement. It's like you're put onto stage, watching the dancers do their own thing, and somehow seeing it in slow motion whenever a mesmerizing moment arises. And every character that dances has their own flavor, their own unique style, which is being translated into the art. And the fact that Coffee is being able to make each and every character have their own unique style and being able to draw the differences while they are dancing is hands down very impressive. When On and Wanda dance, it's more feminine, also because they are female dancers, but most importantly by the way Coffee has drawn them in such a way that is delicate. And even between them, you can see that they both have their own different styles. Same goes with other characters like Iori, Kabe, and Kaboke, who dance more powerful, or more flowy, or even more aggressive. Being able to add such details that every dancer gets a unique style, and representing each character as a quality that all dancers possess is insane. Dance is more than just moving your body. It's a lifestyle which is greatly shown by the way how passionate dancers are with their art. And long story short, this is why you should start reading this underrated manga ASAP. I can keep talking about this topic as well as the manga for hours, so if you would like more videos like this with maybe other topics or have any thoughts that you would like to share, feel free to comment those below and like the video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I see you all in my next video. Bye bye!